Hi there, and welcome to podcast number 2. So I'm Geraldine Headley, and I used to be a nurse, and now I'm a naturopath and a herbalist. I'm a hypnotherapist. There's lots of things that I do, and I thought that I'd spend some time talking to you about your health. So in the first one, I gave you a relaxation so you go to sleep right at the end of the podcast, so that I wasn't bothering you about who I was at the end. But it would be good if you could click follow now, and then if you begin to hate me, then unfollow me later on. But for right now, I was having a chat with the guys who work down the hall from where I am, and one of them is a web designer. And I said to him, oh yeah, I put one up on to relax, and I thought I'd do the next one on relaxation as well. And he said, no, I don't want them all on relaxation. He said, I need them and I'll use them, but how about some health stuff as well? You know, I play on a golf course, and those golfers, God, they really need some help. Well, sorry, Paul, I know very little about golf, but what I do know a lot about is health. So I thought we'd start at the beginning. And the beginning is getting a good night's sleep, and that was in our last podcast. So making sure you go to bed at a reasonable time. We make melatonin between 1 and 4 in the morning, apparently, and so you actually have to be in a darkened room with the lights out, and you should preferably be asleep at that point, because you're not going to make it unless you're asleep. So you need to get what's called sleep hygiene happening. Isn't that revolting, that term? And sleep hygiene is relaxing down and getting ready for bed. And getting ready for bed, part of that is what I talked about last time. But part of that this time is getting prepared for tomorrow, so that you're not bothered tonight about what's happening tomorrow, so that you're ready to go. And one of those things is getting maybe your breakfast set up for tomorrow, maybe having your lunch organised for work tomorrow. But one of the really simple things is working out your fluid and how much you should be drinking and what you should be drinking. So last thing at night, you've managed to get the breakfast sorted, maybe having bircher muesli, so that's all in the fridge, getting ready. Or you've got porridge sitting on the stove, so just the oats sitting in the water, just soaking overnight, letting them activate a bit, softening them up so that they're in the pot and they only take 2 minutes and they're ready to go. So it's like a really fast breakfast in the pan. Or you've got your lunch done. You've made extra dinner tonight. You've steamed some extra vegetables and you've chopped those small, or maybe you've just chopped extra vegetables and you're having a raw vegetable salad with some protein for your lunch. Protein, I don't know, a can of tuna or a can of salmon. They're that really easy ones. Obviously a little bit of cheese is really easy as well. Or a little bit of protein that's left over from dinner. So if you cook a little bit extra chicken, if you're a meat eater, or the small cans of 4-bean mix are absolutely perfect. So it's a good idea to have those things ready to go, because then you're prepared for tomorrow. It does make you relax a bit more tonight. Turning off all your electronica, having some time without blue light, but without all the airwaves happening and without you thinking about it. So on my mobile, I've got a sleep program, so it goes ding, 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 ding at whatever time. What time does it do that? It does it at 10:30, telling me to get ready for bed, so that I'm in bed and my head on the pillow and I'm all sorted at 11 o'clock. So it means I've done everything. I've got a bit of paper and pen by my bed rather than switching on a mobile phone overnight if I do have to write anything down. But often, just as I'm nodding off, I'll think, oh, I haven't done, and I write it down then and there. So it's sorted. I can forget about it and do it tomorrow because I've written it down. So the other thing that I've also got sitting there is a glass of water with lemon in it. Now, the in thing, if you've got one of these fancy, schmancy, mixy, whizzy, bomb-like objects that grinds everything to a pulp, is you just stick the whole lemon, whole lime in there, and you grind them down, and you put them in about teaspoon, just heaped teaspoon amounts, in a freezer tray. And then from the freezer tray at night, you take out one of your lemon lime bombs, and that includes all the pith and the stones and the skin and everything else. That's why you don't need very much. It's very lemony. And you take it out of the freezer and you put it in your glass of water at night, covered, of course, to keep the dust and everything else off it. And when you wake first thing in the morning, you've lost a lot of fluid overnight. Everybody loses a lot of fluid overnight. It's just what happens. So you're sweating it out into your sheets, you're breathing out moisture. So you're losing a lot of fluid overnight. So as soon as you wake up first thing in the morning, there's your glass of lemon water or lime water. And you do need to drink it very first thing while you've still got all your nighttime guck and yick on your teeth. And if you've got a straw, fine, drink it through a straw, because you do need to protect your enamel. Otherwise your dentist will go bunter. Which podcast are you listening to? Don't listen to that anymore. She told you to drink lemon water. It's ruining your enamel. So through a straw, or just a very, very first thing in the morning. That's when I drink mine, as soon as I wake up, because it's nice. I feel fresh, and I've replaced that water from overnight. Then through the day, there's lots of choices of fluid, and there's lots of choices we know we shouldn't have, but we still have anyway because we justify it. So rather than just justifying every single can of fizzy pop that you have, look at it a different way. Why am I having this fizzy pop? What is the reason for me downing this stuff? It's not good for my teeth, it's not good for my guts, it's not good for my bowels. In the long term, it's shown that I'll probably die sooner than everybody else. All of those rotten, nasty things that happen when you're eating and drinking junk food. Blood pressure goes up, more likely to be on tablets. It's a vicious cycle, really. So I do have a coffee first thing in the morning. I really enjoy my coffee first thing in the morning. I haven't had one yet. I've had a cup of tea. I've had a cup of green tea. Actually, no, I didn't have green this morning. I had white. I lied to you then. So I've had my first hot drink of the day, and I will have a coffee a bit later. I'll have a social coffee, but I have it made by a barista. So I have one real coffee made by somebody else, so that I've got that social time, that enjoyment time for myself. Then I drink water, but water can be extremely boring. So ginger, first thing in the morning, so when I've boiled that kettle, I don't always do it, I've forgotten to do it this morning, actually I've run out of ginger, it's about the same amount as the tip of your little finger. And you just buy ginger root at the greengrocer, and you use your potato peeler or a very thin slicer, and you slice about the equivalent amount of the top of your little finger, not your little finger, just the equivalent amount of the top of your little finger of ginger into a cup. Pour boiling water on it. If you've got a flask, then pour it into the flask, and that same amount will do at least 500 mils, if not more, if you're keeping it for the whole day. If you're just using it for 1 cup right then that is just 1 cup's worth. The flavour actually changes over the day, and it warms you up. It's really good for your body and your soul and everywhere else because you're warmed up. It's got lots of good properties. It's anti-nausea is the one that's always researched with ginger. So you've got another fluid drink, you've got a different fluid drink, because you need to be drinking around 2 litres of fluid a day. And that's excluding all of the caffeinated drinks and the fizzy pops and all of that stuff. So if you've got that fluid sitting there and you know you've got to drink that fluid, either plain water or water with ginger in it or a herbal tea or however you want to drink it, then you're going to reduce the amount of fruit juice that you drink, the amount of fizzy pop you drink, the amount of stuff, that you buy that you feel is going to give you a kick, in favour of the good stuff. It's just a switch. It's a swap over. It's saying, what do I really, really need? What do I really, really want? And how does that work for me? So need is different to want, and we need water. My father I said, where's here to drink? And my father would say, what lions drink? Because out in the wild, you really don't see any animals drinking any of the rubbish, and your cat will only drink water. Dogs are a bit stupid, they'll drink other things, but I like dogs, don't worry. All the dog lovers out there shocked now, reaching for the off button. I really like dogs. I grew up with Cocker Spaniel. So, now all the big dog owners are reaching over. If I'd had a big dog, I would have liked that too, but I hadn't got a big dog, so, okay. Covered that one. So, all I'm saying is sort your fluid out, because if you have lots and lots of stimulants throughout the day, and they're in the drinks as much as or probably more than they're in your foods, if you make sure that you're having decent fluid in there that's not a pop drink or a juice, because that's just got sugar you don't need, if you're having drinks that are fresh fluid and that's filtered water, so you haven't got all of the nasties from the chemicals, or that your chemical reduction is reduced, then you're going to feel better in the long term, because we are 70% water and we need to replenish that water and that's kind of the way it works with the old water. So if you wake up and you have that very first one, and you can't really count that in your 2 litres, but if you have that very first one, and that's lemon water, then you're actually activating the body. You're activating everything. You're getting everything, kick-starting yourself, really. The gallbladder's punched in, the liver's helped to get on with it, to get rid of the sludge from last night. And if you don't eat breakfast, that's fine. But it might just be that what we term liverish. It's not really a thing, but it's the easiest way to describe feeling a bit yucky in the morning, and that's you've got all of those nasties. The body's tried to deal with it overnight, hasn't had enough fresh fluid on board to get rid of all the toxins that you're carrying. That's the liver's first task, is to get rid of toxins. That's what it works really hard at, and that's what it's trying to do. So you need to put enough fluid through the body, and that's good quality fluid. So that's water, herbal tea, white tea, green tea. I have a little bit of black tea sometimes, but that's not necessarily up there with your good fluids. So having those good fluids and starting the day with fluid means that you actually do have more energy. And the other thing about having enough fluid on board is good fluid, so water on board, is often we're quite grumpy if we haven't got enough fluid on board, and any school teacher will agree with that. They won't necessarily logically agree with that, but if you say to a school teacher, when the kids are misbehaving, what do? And they'll say, if you can't get them straightened out, you send them outside for a drink of water. So not only have you changed the scene around them by sending them out of the classroom, you've also given them fluid. So you've changed the internal scene as well. And that's what happens with us adults. Sometimes we need to change the internal scene along with the external scene. So every 20 minutes you stand up at your desk and you do a little shake and a little stretch and you have a sip of water. And you can set timers on your phones to do that, timers on your computer, because it's been shown to be better for you in the long term. You're more productive at your desk as an employee if you're standing up and stretching. Not necessarily if you're going to the coffee machine, because that's wasting a lot of time. But if you've got your water there, you stand up, you shake out, you move your wrists, you move your body, you'll be healthier in the long term. You'll be a better employee for your employer, which is, I'm sure, what they want. But for you, your long-term health will be improved just because you're moving. And if you can have your computer at a workstation standing, that's even better for you. So the ginger tea will help your circulation, keep you warm, but it also somehow strangely keeps you cool because you've got what's called false heat. That's what the Chinese call it when you're a bit warm and you shouldn't be that warm, and you're saying to everybody, oh yeah, I'm much warmer than you, and I don't know why. So sometimes it's what's called false heat. And then, load of rubbish. It's not really, because if you look at it, it's just translation of words, really, isn't it? So false heat just means you're a bit, if you stand in a room of 100 people and you're hot and everybody else feels absolutely perfect, yes, it could be subjective, but it also might be that you have false heat going on. And ladies get false heat when they're going through the menopause, and that's the body trying to sort itself out. So keeping the fluid level up so that the liver is supported and the liver can do what it needs to do means that you're supporting your body overall and you're supporting your health in a very easy and cheap way. So all of the fizzy pops and the soda pops, there is absolutely no purpose for those except to consume chemicals. Okay, so I do have a soda stream thing, that on the side there, and you can put fizzy inside a drink, and then I make cordial. So often we will fizz up the water and we'll use the homemade cordial. I make a lemon cordial, but that's not all the time, and the rest of the time there's water going on in this household on various forms of teas and things like that. So just making sure you're not having too much coffee, one's fine. Not having too much black tea, one's fine. But making sure that as the day goes on, you're having those really good quality fluids to replenish what you've lost. So I hope you like that one, Paul, and I hope you like that one, everybody else. So next time I'm here, I will do a relaxation. I think the next one is the one I will do. It's a lovely one. It's about going into a room, and I won't tell you now. I'm going to save that one because I really do think you're going to enjoy it. It's a proper relaxation one. So when I do them, I don't finish with me saying that I'm Geraldine Headley, as I have today. what I do is I finish with you just relaxing. So you can look forward to my next podcast, which I will put up. And I hope you have an absolutely brilliant day or night or afternoon or wherever you are in your time right now. All the very best, everyone. Speak soon. Hope that you hear me soon, I think would be the line. But please leave a comment if you want to. Bye.